All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. And in this video, we are going to be in the 147-pound division where Errol Spence Jr. makes a suggestion after a fight is canceled that will solve a lot of problems in the boxing world, and one that Errol Spence detractors obviously call a duck. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be back in the 147-pound division where we had some really bad news take place this week, but a good suggestion made by somebody directly related to the directly related to the weight class, and one of the reasons why the fight was so important, and that is the fight between Virgil Ortiz and Ennis Stanionis for the WBA regular title. And the person making this suggestion is Errol Spence Jr. Now, before I get into that, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you are a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you so much for your continued support. It really, really is important to the channel. Thank you guys for all you do by supporting, by sharing the videos, liking the videos, and thank you especially to people that support in the super thanks of videos like this. It's just a great way to help support channels who produce content that you like. It's a very, very underutilized thing on YouTube. A lot of people support through the Cash Apps and the live streams and things like that, but that option is there for you. And thank you to Matty Yole. And honestly, there's like 3 or 4 other people that sponsored videos yesterday. I'm going to make sure in my next video that I give you guys special thanks, shout outs. But let's get to this because I was on my way to Dallas. Had already got tickets, or actually a friend of mine, big supporter of the channel, was going to have several other people go, and we're going to all meet up in Dallas, Texas, or Arlington, Texas, for a fight between Virgil Ortiz and Ennis Stanionis, the WBA regular champion. Unfortunately, there has been a holdup in that fight, or delay in the fight, because Virgil Ortiz has another illness, a recurring illness. I don't want to pronounce the name of the illness, but it is a problem. It is related to his blood. When he overtrains or he trains too long for a fight, he winds up having this illness that is a very serious illness, and so he's not going to be able to fight. And so the question is then, what is going to happen after that? Because this was the reason that the fight was important, other than it being 2 very good fighters. Ennis Stanionis is a very good fighter. I believe in his last fight was going to beat Butayev. Butayev was a very solid fighter that beat the former WBA regular champion Jamal James. And then you have Virgil Ortiz, who was one of the up-and-coming boxers in the division. People, put him right there along with Jaron Ennis. But as a result of this, Stanionis is not going to be able to have that fight. I don't know what it means for the mandate for that fight being mandated, but people obviously want to see Ennis Stanionis get an opportunity to get back in the ring. One of those people were Errol Spence Jr., who responded to a fan's question, which he's very good at doing. Who do you think Ennis Stanionis should fight next? Now, the reason it is important is that Ennis Stanionis is Errol Spence Jr.'s mandatory for that title. So Errol Spence Jr. has to date, he has 3 belts. He's got 3 mandatories. One is the WBC, which is Keith Thurman, who there's a chance that he will be actually fighting next. Then there's the IBF interim champion, Jaron Ennis, who he has this fight that is supposed to come up, but I don't think they found an opponent yet for him. And then you have the Ennis Stanionis, who is the WBA regular champion. Now, that's usually not a mandatory situation, but because the WBA is, in the midst of implementing or enforcing a one belt rule. They're trying to shrink the number of champions in weight classes. So they are actually ordering the fights for WBA regular champions to fight their world champion, their WBA super champion. Another example of that is David Morrell at 168 pounds, who is the mandatory for Canelo Alvarez. However, just like at the 168 pound division with David Morrell, the WBA in that division, the WBA suggested, hey, if Canelo Alvarez has two mandatories, why don't we have the two mandatories fight each other? So they suggested that David Benavidez, who is the WBC mandatory, fight David Morrell, who's the WBA mandatory, and the winner of them will then be in position to fight David Benavidez, to fight Canelo Alvarez. An idea that I don't particularly like. However, when you talk about the 147 pound division, what Errol Spence Jr. said is he would like to see Jaron Ennis, either Stanionis fight Jaron Ennis or fight the kid that beat Speedy Rashidi Ellis, which is Roman Villa. And that's a fight that people were thinking that would be next for Jaron Ennis, the Roman Villa. However, if it's the case that it is the Jaron Ennis one, that really does kill two birds in one stone, because it allows Jaron Ennis or Virgil Ortiz to get rid of one of the mandatories. Now, I would think, or not Virgil Ortiz, excuse me, Amanda Stanionis. I think that for Jaron Ennis, it would be a good fight, because would be the best guy that he fought to date. Amanda Stanionis, Stanionis is a world champion, of a secondary belt. And I think that would be an absolutely terrific fight for those guys to have. It would be a terrific fight to watch. And it would be a situation where, if say Jaron Ennis wins, which I would favor him to do, then if Virgil Ortiz wants to come back and have that mandatory, then in order to get that mandatory, Virgil Ortiz got to fight Jaron Ennis. And that would push one of the big fights that people are looking for a lot closer to the forefront, right? Because, you have the upper echelon in that weight division, obviously the Errol Spence and the Terrence Crawford, they are the top guys in that division because they hold all the belts. But of the young guns coming up behind them, what you hear about is Jaron Ennis and you have Virgil Ortiz. And those guys are 24, 25 years old. Maybe one of them hit 26 by now, but right there in that same age range where those guys, when Errol Spence Jr. kind of fades out and Terrence Crawford fades out, those are the guys that are expected to be at the top of that division. So to have those guys fight early on would it almost brings back the days of when Roy Jones Jr. fought Bernard Hopkins in a non-title fight, when those guys were both, highly respected contenders, but not prospects, because I think by that time everybody knew that they were contenders, but neither one of them had if I recall correctly, had fought for a championship. It was really, really early in their career. And it winds up being a case where you have two Hall of Fame fighters who we actually got to see in their prime before people really recognized that they were in their prime. So I think it's a terrific idea if they were able to work a fight between Jaron Ennis and Stanionis, seeing as they're both in training camp. There was going to be a date for Jaron Ennis coming up. So if they were looking for opponent, slide in Amanda Stanionis there. That looks like that's a situation that could really work. Would love to have it. And then whatever the case is, there's one less mandatory out there, right? Even though I don't think that would really solve, if Jaron Ennis, because I think Jaron Ennis would win that fight. If he becomes a WBA regular champion, that begs the question of what would happen to the IBF belt, right? If for some reason Errol moved up and Jaron had that WBA regular belt, I think they would still have to work that out. But hey, at the very least, we get a great fight that we want to see. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.